In 17 states across the country, there are laws in place to protect transgender citizens from discrimination in public accommodations, hotels, libraries, bathrooms. There are currently bills on Beacon Hill in the House and one in the Senate that would do the same. The House Speaker and Senate Leader have both signaled their support for such protections, but attention these days is centered on our governor, who joined us in Boston Public Radio earlier today. Can you see yourself vetoing a piece of legislation that gives the same rights to people that already exist in 17 states, people who have a real serious problem in this society?
As I've said, I want to give the legislature the ability to deliberate this. But I take tremendous pride in the fact that on many of these issues, I've been on what I would describe as the right side of history.
So what is that right side of history here? Joining me to take up the debate are Lorelei Arisis, transgender activist who calls herself a professional trans woman, favors the bill. Good to see you again, Lorelei. Jonathan Alexander is legal counsel at the Massachusetts Family Institute. They oppose legislation. Jonathan, good to see you too.
Likewise, Jim.
Lorelei, for starters, is this legislation any different, I don't mean word, I mean conceptually, than that which exists in the 17 states?
Yeah.
How so?
It's pretty simple. This legislation, all it does, it's very simple legislation, all it does is insert the words gender identity into existing public accommodations protections.
And I was right, it's everything from hotels to libraries to restaurants. So under existing law that passed a couple of years ago, you can't refuse to hire a transgender person to work in those places, but you can refuse to serve a transgender person unless this sort of become law. Your organization, Jonathan, derisively refers to this as the bathroom bill. When it refers to so many public spaces, why do you focus on that one thing?
Well, Section 2 of the bill specifically targets bathrooms and restrooms, locker rooms.
That's a piece of the bill.
Well, Section 2 specifically, and on Section 1, the piece that applies to other areas like restaurants and hotels, the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination is already able to successfully bring claims forward for transgender rights. So that part of the bill isn't really what's at stake.
So does that mean you support that concept, the part of the bill that you say isn't necessary? Do you support rights for transgender individuals in all of those settings?
Well, I think the legislator has a responsibility to legislate in areas, of privacy, that all women and children should have protections of privacy.
Do you support transgender protection for transgendered individuals and in all other than this? We'll get to the bathroom thing in a minute. And all those other areas where you say the MCAD has power. Do you support that?
And that's not what's at stake here. What's at stake here specifically is bathrooms and locker rooms.
But you do support the rest.
The law specifically, Jim, and I'll answer, the law specifically with regard to gender identity has such a vague legal standard where the individual does not have to present, does not have to have a medical history. They just have to have a sincerely held belief or feeling that they are one gender or another.
Can I just one with Lorelei? I know you want to say something to Jonathan.
That applies to bathrooms and locker rooms.
I just have one more thing. On the bathroom front, I know you know this. For the last 4 years, the exact same standards of law have applied in all the public schools in Massachusetts. I made calls today. I couldn't find one complaint that has been filed anywhere in any of those public schools where that right exists.
Well, you didn't look to the Littleton public schools.
What happened in Littleton?
And once again, it's not. I want to clarify that is not a mandate. It was a guideline by Mitchell Chester. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education put that out as a guideline. So it's not a mandate. Students were complaining that they had to use the bathroom with someone who was a full anatomical male, right? And when they complained, these young girls were either told, well, go find another space or wait until he's finished. So their rights of privacy and changing in locker rooms and bathrooms, they're the ones that were being discriminated
Lorelei,
against.
how about the bathroom issue, which I have to say, people who are generally supportive of this thing, the one issue that they've been candid enough, those with whom I've spoken, say, well, I'm not sure about this, is that one. Allay their fears if you can.
Oh, absolutely. The first thing I would say is I am a transgender woman, and visibly so. I'm 6'4". It's easy to tell that I'm trans. And I've been successfully using public restrooms all over the country for 9 years now without any trouble. There are no instances of actual inappropriate behavior on the part of trans people in public restrooms anywhere.
That is false. Like, name you 11 distinct
in the country
reported, in the country.
But let's assume that's true. Let's assume Lorelei is wrong and you were right, and there are 11 in the country. Is that the basis?
I said at least 11, and because of how the law is right now, gender identity being such a vague legal standard, that opens the door for which makes a situation that is
Jonathan,
ripe
people
for abuse.
who look like you were denied the exact same rights not so long ago.
Jim, I'm going to have to stop you there.
Well, let me finish the question. You can stop me any way you want. I'll repeat it.
Okay.
People who have the same skin color you do were denied access to the exact same public accommodations that you want Lorelei and other transgender people.
The question you ask, frankly, is outrageous.
Why?
Because my skin color is my skin color. That's something that I was born with, that I will wake up every morning from here.
This is something that I was born with.
Please allow me to answer the question.
Certainly.
I will wake up every morning from here on out always being a black man. Not because of a choice, not because of how I feel to express myself or what I want to identify as, but that's because of who I am. And to
I have woken up every morning for my entire life
I think she's
being a transgender woman.
But
I will wake up
you have
every
the choice
morning as
to
a
present
transgender
something
woman.
that is against
There was
your
no choice.
your
The choice for
biology,
me was to
something
die.
that is against your DNA. And that is a choice that African Americans
So what about
from
intersex
slavery
people?
through civil rights have never had the choice to decide. But we've embraced and understood that the identity of being black in America is unique and special.
Do you
and we're required to have equal
do
protections.
you question that Lorelei identifies as a woman and feels that she's at risk if this thing does, and people like her are at risk if they don't have this
I
protection?
understand how a person can feel. I understand how a person can identify. But law is based on reality and concrete things. And the way the gender
This is not
identity
reality?
This is
the
reality.
way the gender identity law is written
This is
today,
the person
ripe
I
for
am
abuse.
everywhere I go. I am this woman anywhere you would encounter me. If you met me at Starbucks, I'd be this woman.
But biology gives us facts that say that there's a reality that's different.
Biology
So can I go
does
back
all
to-
sorts of
Can I just go back to the
DNA
first question, just so I'm clear about where?
and at a chromosome level is what
So let me
differentiates
just
between
end
male
where I
and women.
began, and then we'll continue this in the weeks ahead if you're both kind enough to join us, because it's going to go on for a while. The protections that are in place in the law that was passed, does the Mass Family Institute protect them? There's no discrimination allowed against transgender individuals in housing and employment. Do you support those things? You don't support that
we
either?
have to pay attention to bathrooms and locker rooms because
That's not my
that's
question.
what's at stake
Do you
in the
support the
judiciary.
existing law, or you don't like the existing law either?
The existing law, as the governor has said, is sufficient for transgenders
Do you support it?
to bring their claims.
Do you
I
support
think
it?
that bathrooms and locker rooms are the only thing that I'm hearing our opposition talk about because it's a scare tactic.
No, because
it
it-
is the
because-
one thing
because
you
it
can
al-
use
because it allows-
to deny us our basic human
You have the
civil
last
rights.
15 seconds.
Because it allows anatomical males to be in locker rooms and bathrooms with young 11-year-old girls, and they will have no recourse or no ability to say, why is this man in the bathroom with me? They'll be changing into their swimsuits. They'll be using private facilities with nothing to say against a
I
biological
promise you
anatomical
this will
man.
be continued. Lorelei, it's good to see you.
Thank
you
you,
for your
Jim.
time, Jonathan.
Thank you so much,
for yours
Jim.
as well.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.